Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to rise and make a short contribution to the bill shortly entitled Common Reporting Standard Automatic Exchange of Financial Account Information Amendment Bill 2018. The debate that we would expect today on this bill would be rather succinct, and of course largely because in my opinion it's non-controversial, and of course the honorable mover of the bill for constituency 7 would have laid out his reasons why, reasons with which I concur that it is non-controversial. But I wanted to, by way of reminder, indicate to this House that the bill would have had the first reading on the 28th of March, but of course it is based on a previous parent bill that would have been passed on December 13th of 2016. And that premise would have been based on the fact that the St. Kitts and Nevis would have to be continuously demonstrating to the international community our commitment given by the government, by financial institutions, and our fiscal system managers that we are committed to do everything in our power to ensure tax compliance and also to fight against tax evasion wherever we know it might exist, in keeping with our obligations under the common reporting standards that would have been set by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD. And of course, the OECD, if we are to be reminded, would have established this as a global standard, the CRS, since 2003, approved in 2014, based on a recommendation of the G20 countries. And in our case, even though we do not comprise one of the 20 largest world economies, because we are reliant to a considerable extent on financial services and, of course, to remain in good standing with the international community, we have not been afforded a slip-by because of our smallness, and we have to comply. The honorable mover of the bill earlier today would have alluded to these things. The amendments are simple. As I indicated earlier, they would have been in 3 sections, 2, 5, and 8. And in a nutshell, what the amendments really seek to do is to explicitly interject in the text of the parent legislation the requirement for due diligence in all of the reporting responsibilities that we would have. And of course, these original reporting responsibilities would have been based on 8 particular components regarding successful automatic exchange of information, which would include things like the who, the what, the when, the how, issues of confidentiality, and also reciprocity when it comes to information of a financial nature that is being requested or being supplied by a particular jurisdiction that would be party to these CRS arrangements. Now, as of the last check, if my math is correct, approximately 109 nations would have already agreed to the standard. And in particular, a number of them would have already gone a step further and entered into an arrangement like what we are doing here this evening in terms of ensuring that due diligence considerations are part and parcel of the common reporting standard in terms of the responses we are obligated to provide as a member nation of this agreement. Case in point is New Zealand, who since July of 2017, the 1st of July to be precise, would have actually gone down that road in terms of including due diligence procedures in CRS, mainly 1, for the execution of the relevant information being supplied on relevant tax residents, 2, to reporting on information via their own Inland Revenue Authority, if the relevant tax residents are from a reportable jurisdiction. And of course, the third modality would be that of reporting the prescribed information annually to the Inland Revenue Authority in that particular state. In our state, it's similar with support from the FSRC and other similar-minded bodies. And of course, this latest modality would include the CRS as it refers to undocumented countries. Now, I would expect, and we would all expect, that once St. Kitts and Nevis has acceded to this amendment, we would already be joining a group of nations like New Zealand who already have best practices in that regard that we can follow. Some of these other countries beside New Zealand being Singapore, Japan, Hong Kong, and Australia. And I should also note that within the provisions of the OECD, as it relates to the Common Reporting Standard, we should be mindful of the fact that enshrined in those agreements would be the technical assistance provisions that should be accorded developing nations such as ourselves in terms of putting these standards in place. The original mover of the bill would have indicated that it is onerous, it is costly, but we do not have the luxury not to do so. So, in short, Mr. Speaker, I am convinced that the passage of the amendments will go a long way in terms of showing the rest of the international community our compliance with the CRS, the Common Reporting Standards, and at the same time to send a message to agencies such as the OECD and the Financial Action Task Force that we are endeavoring to be compliant, to ensure that we do our part to prevent tax evasion, etc., and to avoid wherever possible any type of blacklisting which could sully the reputation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And of course, we do know the force and the power of agencies such as the OECD to hamper us in terms of our image in the international community, and at the same time, even insofar as the standing that we have internationally relative to our citizenship by investment program, which we have endeavored so heartily since taking office in 2015 February to make sure that we resuscitate and put on a sound footing. So with those few words, Mr. Speaker, I commend the bill to safe passage. May it please you.
Stay up to date with news, programs, and activities of the government with SKNIS. Like us on Facebook. Listen to us on SoundCloud. Follow us on Twitter. And watch our videos on YouTube. Connect with us today. SKNIS, St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service.